Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and today, a returning guest, back to talk about his new movie called VIC Effects. I have with us, listen, a fan favorite here at the Horror Room, my man, Chris Shuren. Chris, welcome back to the Horror Room.
What's up, man? It's good to be back.
You
I
too,
know I was
man.
here when we did a round table, but
It's
yes,
your third time on, man. This is your
yeah,
third
yeah,
time on.
third time. So
Yes.
I'll come back in 2 years after this one.
Yes. now, now, listen, I'm excited about this one, man. Tell us a little bit about VIC Effects.
Yeah. So Vic Effects is my second feature film. This movie is about a Foley artist. So if anyone don't know who a Foley artist is, Foley artist is someone who creates sound effects for like video games, movies, and commercials and whatever. So Vic, the lead character, she's a Foley artist that does sound effects for independent horror films, and so she that's her job, and she um how do I explain it? So she gets offered a job to do a horror movie for from this famous kind of controversial filmmaker named Milo Kemp, and his previous Foley artist, who is also Vic's idol, this guy named Thomas Raven, he passed away. So he passed away, and so they needed to finish the movie. So Milo Kemp offered Vic the job to finish doing sound effects for the movie. So one thing lead to another, where things start getting crazy and weird, and all of a sudden, things that's going within the film is coming into her reality, and all hell breaks loose. So.
Now, what gave you the inspiration? I love this idea. What gave you the inspiration for this?
Well, actually, I started kind of seriously doing sound design for like independent like short films in 2016. Well, I was finally getting the opportunity to do sound design for independent short films. So I was doing a movie, short film called uh, man, what the hell was that movie called? Like my brain is like,
Yeah,
this movie
it's the late night. Yeah,
Love Me Tender. It was about a guy who he was a piece of shit. Like his wife went on like out of town with his kid, and then he started fucking with women on Tinder or whatever. So he meets the girl that's on Tinder, and then come to find out the girl is actually not alive. And then he meets someone that comes from the dead, and she drowns. So she comes back. So she comes back from the dead in water, or comes back from dead. She drowned in the lake, and she comes back from the dead, and she comes to his house, and something happens. So what I had to do was I had to create a sound effect of this woman kind of walking barefooted, like soaking wet, so her arm, like her legs are like squishing on the floor or whatever. So I had to like come up with different ideas to, and usually when I do sound effects, I'll do Foley stuff and pick up stuff, and I'll use like digital library for different sound effects. But it's hard to find a sound effect with some woman like walking barefoot in water, just squishing on the ground. Whatever. So I had to like wrap some towels on my feet, and then kind of get like a sponge, and kind of just like do this stuff to kind of create the sound effect. And then when I was doing that stuff, I heard something behind me, and I was like freaking out. I was like, "What the fuck was that?" And yeah, I came up with this concept. I mean, there's a movie called Barbarian Sound Studio that kind of falls into what I'm doing, and so there's an aesthetic that I'm going with. But the difference between that is you only hear the sound, you don't see the movie. The thing that we did with Vic Effects, we created 6 short films to which she is. So it cuts back. It cuts from the film being done and being played to cutting back to her creating the sound effect for the film. So it'll kind of go back and forth within the movie when we're, and now that's how we created different setups with the movie, and we created these short films for her to do sound effects for. So you can see and hear the visual. So that's what separates this movie from anything else that has something to do with like sound effects and stuff like that. So yeah, so it's kind of like yeah, it's kind of she makes these sounds and all this crazy stuff. Like she's building this atmosphere that's faltering into her reality on top of things that relates to the films, relates to her personal life as well. So it's a lot of metaphors that's going into place with it.
Nice, man. Now, now, by this being your second film, what were some things from that you carried over from the first film? What were some things you were like, damn, that shit didn't work. I'm not going to do that on this one.
CGI blood. That's a no. So
Yeah.
so so getting pumps and blood and putting the time into doing that stuff is like, all right, cool. We're gonna do stuff like that. From a technical standpoint, honestly, this movie was a lot easier to deal with, not because my first film, Evil Lurks, was more difficult. I mean, emotionally, it was a lot of different things happening with that movie. But this movie wasn't that difficult because most of the movie took place in a recording studio. So most of the thing you do is you see her making sound effects, and it was pretty like it was a lot of work. We put a lot of work into this stuff, but it was pretty smooth the way we kind of set everything up. So I for the most part with a paper thin, even more so a paper thin crew. That's, I kind of went the same route I did when we shot Evil Lurks. So it was I had a better understanding about what I was doing with this movie than I was with Evil Lurks. And it's funny because this movie is a bigger movie,
Mhm.
but Evil Lurks has so much. We had 29 cast members, we had 14 locations, we had all this stuff. So on that scale, it was a lot different. On this scale, I mean, it was 12 acting. We had 12 actors in this movie, but it still was on a broader scale because I had to shoot, short films within that. And yeah, I mean, besides one day where it was a little difficult with certain things going on, especially when I like playing the creatures in my movie, so I was playing the creature in my movie. So being a creature and then also, you know, directing, and then if my
Tough.
angle ain't right, I got to grab the camera and say, "Hey, this is what I want to do." Stuff like that was difficult. But man, honestly, man, I feel like for me, I found the secret to me not losing my mind making movies. It's always going to be emotionally stressful. It felt like you
Mhm.
picked up 10,000 pounds when you get home. But I found I had the locations. I found a balance between um well, also I wasn't the main character in this movie, so that helped me just be a director and be a cameraman because I was also doing camera work alongside with Jeremy Applebaum, who's my DP. So yeah, it was yeah. I don't think nothing really changed as much this time around, but yeah, it was a pretty intimate setup with things as like certain parts with Evil Works was, but yeah, I learned a lot from that to this, but like I said, CGI blood. I try to stick with practical effects a lot more, and that we did a lot of different things that that I'm really happy about. That yeah, I mean yeah, man, I felt I was green the first time, just trying to figure everything out. This time I was just like I took 4 months to like organize my shit before I started shooting.
Mhm.
And I think that helped a lot. Like corresponding with my DP and setting up the shots and figuring out how we want to set this up because it's an interesting kind of film because it stars out as a documentary. So we highlight Vic as a Foley artist. So I was watching a lot of documentaries to kind of get an idea. So I was just pretty much going with a documentary type setting. So it's like a mockumentary,
Nice.
and then it goes into her cutting back, going into her making the short films and doing the sound effect. So it goes into an anthology because we're cutting into different films where she's doing her thing, and then it goes into the whole setting, her in the studio and the life of her being in there, and then it goes into Big Effects, that the movie. So I tell people I call it a mockumentary anthology psychological mind fuck horror movie, and
And
yeah,
and I like movies like that. I love horror movies where you're like, is this real or could this could have been real? I like shit like that, man.
yeah, yeah, and it's very and what worked about it is the script was only 35 pages, so I left a lot of things
Wow.
open for the actors to kind of free will, free ball and like free ball balls. Sorry. So, but like just kind of like the dialogue was there, but like how would you say what do you think? So giving them the freedom to kind of like get their ideas in place. Like my scripts are blueprints. I don't really consider myself a screenwriter. I'm like this movie's 100 minutes long, and I'm not gonna. And the script is only 35 pages. I'm not gonna write. I don't see myself writing 100-page scripts. But as a director, I find the right actors knowing what I need to do and what they need to do in order to follow the script, but enhance it within their talents as well. So yeah, it was that's it that part of it. It was yeah, man. It was a very loose setting. There were certain things happening and certain things we kind of went out and said, okay, this is what we're gonna do with this part and this part and stuff like that. But the way the structure is set up, I'm just very glad they got what I was trying to do. But also, I've worked with these are actors. Most of these actors are people I worked with before, like Amanda Winston and Bill D. Russell. And yeah, so it was pretty smooth how we structured everything, and I'm the editor as well. So once I knew I had the right footage, it was just a matter of me sitting down and figuring it out. And the one cool thing about this that was different from Evil Lurks is I was editing as I went. So when I had the footage, I would get home, wait a couple of days, and then start editing it down. So it didn't take as long to edit this movie than it did when I edit and re-edit Evil Lurks. So
Well,
that's a thing that I want to hope to do moving forward as a filmmaker, especially a independent. I call myself a DIY filmmaker. As a DIY filmmaker, because it makes time is of the essence, so I
mhm.
can knock shit out quicker. If I'm just like editing as I go and kind of knowing where I need to hit things at. So, but yeah,
And it's crazy. I'm not even a filmmaker, but I'm a small time. I don't have no one doing my fucking editing for me. I got a full time job. I got a life,
yeah,
and like you'll see me if. By the way, I'm gonna tell you one of the tips to my secret. But if you see me every once in a while, I'll have a little marker and I go over here because I'm like, ugh, I'm going to scratch that out. I do my editing as I'm doing the interview,
yeah,
and it just makes my life so much easier than
right,
listening to the whole entire interview back
yeah,
and scratching things out. But like, yeah, I mean, you got to find ways to
yeah,
simplify the process.
yeah, yeah, man, and yeah, it's. I think that's especially because I have two kids, I have a wife, I have a full-time job, so it's like trying to, and I like, I can't do things until a certain time of the night.
Hmm.
When I put my kids to bed, and I can start editing. So when I'm shooting, knowing what I'm shooting, and then figuring everything out, I know, Okay, those I got 2 minutes of editing of stuff. I got 2 minutes worth of stuff I know I'm gonna be putting in there, and I know where I need to hit it at. And yeah, it just makes life easy, just like grab footage and say, okay, well, what I'm gonna do and all that stuff. And then another thing is like trying to I'm not trying to be Stanley Kubrick and do 50,000 takes. If I can get
Yeah.
a solid 4 takes of each scene, cool. If I can get at least three, if two
Yeah.
happens, cool. I don't want one because something might get weird or something to happen, but at least just get try to be as tight as you can with the takes. And then when we shoot, I'm hoping, it's like a work day, like 8 hour day. That's perfect. I don't want to be on set for 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 hours and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So hopefully having a sense of organization, but big or small, things get weird with production and you think, oh, we're going to be out here by this time. And then you don't. And it's like, no, it's a weird situation, but you just gotta you gotta prep and get things locked in, you know, or you're gonna be in trouble. Especially with
Yeah.
the type of stuff we're doing as low budget filmmakers.
Now, you were talking about CGI blood. Why doesn't CGI blood work? I mean, everything else CGI looks good. But why does it, when you see it on screen, CGI blood looks so, it looks like CGI blood.
Yeah, it looks so clean. It's just like it just has it. I mean, I've CGI blood when when it kind of stands on you
Mm-hmm.
is it can work. 'Cause I've seen movies like that where it just kind of is like it's there and it's like okay, but when it hits you, you can just see the splat just kind of it's just too wide. And obviously when you watching a movie, even with gunshots, you don't a gun don't put this crazy big ass spark every time you
Yeah.
shoot or whatever. It's the absurdity. Like when you a punch actually sound like this, or this is a
Mm-hmm.
punch. It's like it don't have
No.
that, all
Yeah.
that craziness and stuff like that. So I get the absurdity, but something with the splash just doesn't work. And I was like, we had a couple of moments where we had some splashes and evil lurks, and I was like, and people called on to it. It's like, yeah, that wasn't good. But I mean, I grew up watching '80s horror, so like,
Mm-hmm.
as corny, it's funny, as corny as those horror movies were back then. They have the best practical effects out of anybody.
Well,
I,
yes.
I just watched Toxic Avenger, and that movie is legendary, but it's it's still a cheesy ass movie. But the practical
Mm-hmm.
effects is fucking bonkers, and
Amazing.
if you make that shit today, and people are like what, and that's what I'm looking like. Like I'm already talking to I'm talking to my I have a team now, so I'm talking to my Caitlin Stack, who's one of the leads in Vic Effects, but she also helped me with makeup effects and Vic Effects as well. So she did a lot of different practical effects for me, and me and her been talking back and forth since we've been working on this. Like, yo, man, I want to use like animatronics and do all these things, and we're just gonna like start building shit and just start building stuff so we have it ready for the next project.
Nice.
Yeah, just be prepared. But I just love that stuff. It's time consuming, but on the other side of it, in post production, that blood is already on there, so I don't have to worry about adding this and that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I got to be behind her, make sure I'm not black, and I got to pump the pump, and then all of a sudden the blood's coming up, and it's like, all right, cool. I don't have to use like a green screen thing and then like move her hand. Like all of that is like happening. So yeah, it's just like with that. Yeah, fire can be weird too. I didn't do fire for this, but fire can be weird too with CGI fire. So it's a certain way you got to color it to make it still kind of look pristine. Because that shit is hard when you put somebody in the suit and then try to light them up. It's like,
Yeah.
we ain't got that kind of budget. I ain't got that kind of
Yeah.
insurance. I have no insurance, so I'm not doing that shit. I'm like,
Because I hear filmmakers to tell me, oh, listen, you can't even notice the CGI blood in my movie. I'm like, no, you can.
Nah, you can.
You can. You can.
Yeah. When you watch enough, man, the new version of Fright Night. And I don't know if they just did that on purpose just to be funny or whatever. The new Fright Night.
I actually enjoyed that one.
I did too, but the CGI blood was like, damn, man, y'all had a nice budget. It just looked too clean. Like it was just like.
But that's what I said about. That's what I said about Evil Dead Rises, right?
Yeah.
The CGI blood was too much for me, and I understand what they wanted to do.
Yeah,
but it just took me every time I saw. I was like, it kind of like took me out for a second and then back in.
Yeah,
and I was like, did you have to do that? I mean, I understand you're trying to go over the top crazy, but
what's weird is I don't know if they I'm thinking they did a lot of practical with Evil Dead, like the 2013.
It was a lot. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wait, this gotta be practical. And honestly, I like that movie better than Evil Dead Rise. Everybody,
100%. I was not that big of a fan of Evil Dead Rise. It wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't a bad movie.
No, yeah.
But I did not understand because I saw that on the third night it was out, and people who saw the opening day and Friday and Saturday, they were like, "Oh my god, this is the greatest horror movie ever!" Like it was like this thing where it was like. And by the way, we're going to talk about another film too, but
Yeah,
they were talking about it was like acting like it was the greatest thing ever, and I'm like, and I went to see it, and maybe it's because everybody was telling me it was the greatest thing ever that
yeah,
I went in and I was just like, well, this is okay, but I
yeah.
don't understand it.
I saw it once and I was like,
I would never watch again.
yeah, it wasn't, and that bothers me because it's like I want movies to be. I want movies like, oh my, I walk out, I'm like, what? Oh my god, this is crazy. Like another movie talk to me, and I like the movie and I love the concept of what they did. Man, I was something was missing with it though. I was like, I don't know if I'm going back to this. I was just, I don't
See, I
know,
love to
man.
talk. I love talk to me, but let's talk about. I'm gonna. So
Okay,
our next guest. Listen, so I follow Chris on social media, and I don't think he knows I actually snoops at his stuff a lot. But so we're going to talk about something I saw on your social media, but we're also going to talk about. So this is a personal conversation that Chris and I. This was through DM. So Chris and I had a interview scheduled a couple weeks ago, and then I was like, and I got called into work, right? And then Chris asked me, he goes, "Do you mind if I ask you what kind of job do you have? You got called in work at 9:30 at night, right?" And and then and I said, "Oh, I'm a mortician," and he goes, "Well, I think you're like, nah, are you serious?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then you see, you told me, "Oh my goodness, my mind is racing right now." What ideas were going through your head?
oh, you a mortician? I'm like, okay, you fuck with dead bodies for a living, and you have a horror podcast. Hmm. Yeah, that's a fucking crazy ass movie that can happen. A horror podcaster who works at a fucking, who's a
At the funeral home,
mortician,
yeah.
and things happen, and he has conversations about it on his podcast, and then supernatural things happen, and then he gets a guest, and then all of a sudden the guest is actually dead, and he's like, "Oh, I know you work at a you know my uncle." Like what? I don't know, shit like that. Like yeah, you have this ability to communicate with the dead, and you have a
Oh, that'd
podcast.
be cool. That'd be fucking cool.
Yeah,
But you'd be shocked on how many indie filmmakers and horror authors, I mean, horror filmmakers and horror authors are, who day jobs are actually morticians.
wow,
I've met several on the show.
wow. I do data entry, man. I just make phone calls and talk about, hey, you want to play our PSC about that canine companion? Ain't touching no dead body.
So, but the second I was doing and talked about was I saw that you saw Terrifier 3. By the way, people are probably getting sick of me bad mouth Terrifier 3. Listen, but you saw Terrifier 3, I want to say it was opening night.
Yeah,
And I saw it the following night.
yeah,
And I saw your review. It wasn't disrespectful. It wasn't rude. I mean, it was just like, hey, this movie, it is what it is, you know.
yeah.
And but what was your honest opinion of Terrifier 3?
Well, if I recall, what I said was, and even in the comments, I was like, I'm I'm excited about this franchise because of the story, because where they started and where they're at now. Because what they're doing is an anomaly. There's no one's. Don't think I'm gonna get a clown and do some brutal stuff, and then I'm gonna make millions of dollars. That's not how this
No.
all worked. It just they was at the right place at the right time, and it fucking worked for them. So I love the story of Damien and Art and all the things they created. Now I will say the second time watching Terrifier and Terrifier 2, I liked it a lot more than the first time. Not to say I didn't like it the first time, but I liked it a lot more. Now Terrifier 3, I enjoyed for the sense of okay, how they're building things up. I'm still confused with the story. I still think the story is
Yeah.
insanely convoluted, if that's the right word to use. It's so much going on, and they just kind of need to not overcomplicate it and kind of keep things a little bit simple. I like them going with the supernatural element because, yeah, I mean, Art the Clown is with everything that's happened. Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
supernatural freaking
makes
being,
sense.
demon. So story wise, there's certain things where I'm kind of like, all right, we we got to really figure out certain things because it's just a lot of stuff going on. I never understood why he brought. I mean, the pale girl. I don't know why she wasn't in 3, and I'm
That's one of
confused.
the things I said in my review, and I didn't know why they put so much attention on Vicky in this
Yeah,
one. It kind of lost me.
yeah. I mean, the people are always going to say the first movie didn't have a storyline. I mean, every
It didn't.
movie got a
It didn't.
storyline. He
It
showed
didn't.
up, he's a killer, and it's Halloween. It's like
Yeah,
it ain't just like all right, kills, cut the kid. There was a story. Like the girls,
somewhat. Yeah,
yeah, that was. I mean, it was a story. It was like
it was. It was simple, simple,
yeah,
simple,
simple as shit. Yeah, it was
simple,
simple.
simple.
Like he showed up and he did his thing, and yeah, it was. But even that movie was trippy. It was weird. Even with the lady, the crazy lady with the doll and stuff. A
Hmm.
lot of people played a lot. People went back to that with the whole doll and all that stuff as well. Went with art and um, yeah. It was just like Damien wants to make. He want to make a good story out of this. He wants to make a good story. I don't think he just want to like just do all right. Here's the kills, and yeah, that helps. I mean, that's what most of these slasher movies and stuff like this about the kills. But I think at times the story does get, especially with 3, it does get confusing. I can admit that. Now the kills, fuck yeah, dude. Like slow clap, they're fucking
Yes,
bonkers. Now that stuff. Now when people are talking about, oh, it was so gross, they threw up. Like those, that shit don't bother me. That shit don't make me lose my fucking
no,
mind. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm feeling sick. Like it's, I know what it is. It's fun. It's fun horror. It's disgusting. It's crazy. I mean, and people complain about the time limit. And then Damien mentioned where like art don't just kill you and just stab you and you're done. Like I was watching Friday the 13th Part 6, and I was like, damn man, this shit seemed like PG compared to what I'm watching now. And I'm like, damn,
yeah,
like I watched this when I was 7, but it was like, yeah, you get to the point, boom, art takes his time and he
it
freaking
does.
with you, and he
He's a masterpiece. I mean, but my problem with the Terrifier movies has never been Art the Clown. Art the Clown is an amazing fucking character. He's
yeah,
he's a villain, iconic. I'm putting in the iconic status now, right?
yeah.
Um, my problem. I don't know if you saw my review that I did.
Oh
Well,
no, I saw you.
okay.
I was like, oh, I was, yeah, he wants to smoke because
but but I went into that movie because I went into the movie. Once again, it's not a bad movie. It's not.
yeah, yeah,
I've never said it's a bad movie, right?
yeah, yeah,
But once again, the opening night hype. I'm seeing indie filmmakers saying, "Oh my god, this is the greatest movie ever!" Blah blah blah, the greatest horror movie of the year. I'm like, no, it's
yeah,
not. Stop. Well, come on. I get it. I know you want to protect your own. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
hype up your own. But like, this one was not even good. It wasn't even as good as part 2. And like, I do not. Anytime I go into a horror movie, and I'm doing this, Chris. If I go into any movie in a movie theater, now, I'm not talking about at home because home, you know what I mean. It's
Yeah,
a different experience when you see a movie in a movie theater. You're sucked into the movie,
right.
and it makes even the worst movie seem interesting when you see it on that big screen. You
Yeah,
know, but this was the first movie I'm telling you in a long time that I pulled out my phone a couple of times and was like, "Damn, what's going on here?" Damn, this movie is long, and it just seemed part 2 was long, but it didn't seem long.
yeah,
This movie just seemed long. It just seemed long, and there was just a lot of bad acting, and storyline was all over the place. And I'm looking like, and it was predictable as all hell. So by the time I said, by the time we get to the shower kill, which is the grand finale kill,
mm,
right? Amazing kill. my brain was kind of shut down and like it. I don't know. It wasn't as great because this it felt like the whole story in the movie dragged to me. It just seemed
Right.
like a big long drag.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah. I
and-
mean, it's 2 hour horror movies are tough. Trust me, I
yeah,
I had that experience. I'm like, "Oh, I gotta edit this shit down. 2 hour horror movies are tough, and I guess I get what he was trying to do with certain things. I honestly, I didn't think the acting was bad. I've seen when we talk about horror movies and slasher movies. I mean, we like let's keep it real. When you watch Night of the Demons, that's not some Oscar worthy fucking acting. That's that. I just watched that a couple of days ago. I'm like, man,
I did too.
and it was
I
just
thought
like
it was a great movie.
it's such a phenomenal movie though.
It's
It's
an
a phenomenal
amazing movie.
movie.
It's an
I think that,
amazing movie. So
yeah,
let's not put them on the same level of Terrifier 3.
yeah.
But but like no, I mean listen. I think Terrifier 3 had a larger budget than
Oh yeah,
they
yeah.
did.
No, me
So
too, man.
I mean this was a $3 million budget. You know, so like I was just shocked that this was on indie horror level acting to me. I
Yeah.
did not think this was a $3 million budget acting, but I think a lot of most of the money was put into the gore, the CGI. I mean,
Oh yeah,
the
no.
practical effects. I think that's where most of the money was put into. Which, guess what? You go into a Terrifying movie, that's what you want to see.
Yeah, he got Oscar nominated freaking makeup artist to do this. Like with Terrifier
Yes.
2, him and his producer did all the majority of the effects. Like
Hmm.
he had money to say, all right, let me you know put that out there. But I don't know, man. I mean, maybe it's just the script because here's my thing when people talk about budgets and stuff like this. Oh man, we didn't have the right budget. I'm like
Yeah.
there's some great fucking actors out there that's not a list whatever. They're like really good. My favorite the people I love trying to gather for my movies is like theater actors. Like I love Amanda. Amanda grew up. She started in theater. Caitlin started in theater. Bill Russell, he was in Second City. He did a lot of
Hmm.
improv. So um, Dennis Newport, who's I idolize that guy. I worked with him on a short film like 10 years ago, and then he's really not doing a lot of films, and we're not really doing much filming. But when I sent him the script for Vic Effect, I said, "Hey man, can you read this? I wrote this for you."
Yeah.
It was just him doing interviews, like a whole day, just him doing interviews. So he had to run around and do all that stuff. Phenomenal actor, like pristine.
It is different, and that's the
Yeah,
difference
and
between
it was
hiring
bad.
strippers.
They
Yeah.
had Jason Patrick. Jason Patrick was Lost Boys. Jason Patrick ain't a
Yes.
bad actor. I think so. At some elements of the script just doesn't. People would one thing they criticize Damien with is they they're not the biggest fan of his script writing. So they just
Hmm.
think like, okay, like his screenplays or whatever. But I don't fucking know. I didn't mind it. My problem was I felt like the story they need. I think they need to really fully lock in with the story and not.
I don't think they're going
They
to do it.
do
I
still
don't
another
think they can
thing
do
of like, look, we're gonna go here, and do this shit. We're gonna fuck Santa up. We're gonna, we're gonna
it. It
blow
was
up some.
just
I don't want to
yeah,
give it away.
yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I agree. It was just all over the place. It's been a
yeah,
while since I've seen a movie that was just so all over the fucking place.
yeah, yeah.
And by the time the thing you wanted to focus on the most, by the time you get to that, you're just like, huh, what happened? Like,
Yeah,
and like even like the ending, like I don't even want to bring up the ending, but like even like the ending and like the fight scene and this and that, it was just so. It made me feel like Halloween Ends. You know how you were so looking forward to seeing this battle between Laurie and Michael Myers, and then it was just such a letdown.
I didn't see the last two Halloweens.
Oh, okay,
I didn't see the last two Halloween, and you
you
can
didn't
tell
miss
me about
anything.
it. You can
You
tell me
didn't
this
miss anything.
thing. I'm gonna tell, and then if people get on me about it, then it is what it is. I'm done with Halloween. I'm done.
I've said the same thing.
If they remake it again, people are going to see it. But I see it on social media all the time. Oh, they're gonna make another one. I'm not going to see. I'm like, cool. I don't like if people have my mindset. A lot of companies will be in a lot of trouble. Apple, a lot of companies will be in a lot of trouble. I'm like, I'm not gonna wait. I'm not gonna watch any more of this. I'm done with Halloween. Like, if you want to do stuff with Freddy, if they remade a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3.
Dream Warriors, yes.
I am so. It's not going to replace the second one. But even Robert Englund said they should remake. If they're going to remake of Freddy, they should remake that one. And he said, I'll be in that. I won't play Freddy, but I'll play like one of the doctors. Because 1 and 3 are the 2 greatest Nightmare on Elm Street films of all time.
By far, not even close. Yeah. Not even close.
So oh man, you want to talk about the practical effects in 3 and all the stuff that happened with that, the TV and the word of, dude, come on. Like, and that budget, I mean, maybe that budget, I think that budget was $7 million. Because the first one was only $1 million when they did, when they did the first one. Like, man, you want to talk legendary, phenomenal. Yeah, but
absolutely.
I can't fuck with Halloween anymore. I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. By the way, everyone, go see Terrifier 3 and listen. Ignore me. Support indie horror and Damien Loney. Damien, I don't fucking like. Well, Damien, I do not dislike you. I really don't. I do not dislike the Terrifier, but my problem is it's the Terrifier fans that's my problem because they act like that this is the greatest horror series ever made or a horror movie. And it's not. It's not the worst either. It's not the worst, but it's not the greatest. So let's stop. It's a great middle of the road horror franchise with a amazing horror villain, absolutely amazing horror villain, and amazing gore. But it's not top of the tier of horror franchises.
Did you see A Nature of Violence? Is that the word? I mean, is that the name of the movie?
Yeah, I'm not. But that's another indie film. Now, see, I'm not going to talk about that one because I have nothing positive to say about that one. And I don't bash any filmmaker, so I have nothing positive to say about that one. But like, now that was long. That was a lot of
walking,
a lot of walking, a lot of watching, and a lot of nothing.
Honestly, dude, because people were scaring me because they said, "Oh, this is the Skinamarink of a slasher film."
Yes,
and I saw Skinamarink, and I was like, "Oh, do I want to see this?" Because
I think I told you to. I think I told you to watch Skinamarink. I think when you were on that live show, and they were like, and I didn't want to say nothing bad about the movie because I interviewed the people, but like,
I see, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not because making movies. Here's the bottom line: whether the movie's good or bad, making movies is a lot of work. There's a lot of work, even if you get your friends and got a camera phone. Like, it's a lot of work organizing, putting things in place. But I'm happy for the filmmaker of Skinamarink and what he's done to create the atmosphere and the hype and the dude made a lot of money on a $15,000 budget. Congratulations on that situation. But I watched that movie and I listened. They said turn on the lights, blah blah blah, and I said okay. So I usually turn because I'm old, man. I'm an old man, so I can't turn all the lights off in a scary movie. Not because I'm scared, because I'll fall asleep. I'm tired. I'm always tired. So I'm like, I'm gonna turn the lights off. Okay, I'm gonna watch this movie. Hour and 40 minutes. I'm like, and I was mad. Like I was my wife mad when she saw Bo Is Afraid. Because she's like, why the fuck you make me watch this shit? I was just like, I almost mad. Oh, she hated it. But I watched the movie. I was like, man, what the fuck? I said this should be in an art museum. People drinking PBRs, and this shit is in the background. It was a movie about kids waking up and their parents were missing, their windows was missing, and I'm just like, this ain't what this movie's about. That's a dope ass concept, but I just for this movie to be this long for that to be what it is. But
I felt
Nature of Violence, I actually really liked it. I like slow burn
really.
movies. Yeah, because I mean the kill, dude, that kill was gnarly with the
It's another
freaking
kill.
yeah, that kill was gnarly with the freaking yoga instructor or whatever. But something about I love the dryness of it. I love how when he came from the dead, it wasn't this crazy atmospheric thing. It was just kind of like sound design. It was and going back to Vic effects, the sound design was just amazing. Even within the natures and everything else that was with it. I was like, damn, I really like this. I was not bored at all. And I just
I'm gonna
like
tell you something.
yeah.
I I I didn't pull my phone out. I
Yeah.
saw it in the theaters. I didn't pull my phone out and see what time it was. So that says for something.
Yeah. No, it just the
Like,
simplicity of it was just like something about it. It worked for me. It worked for me. Some things are just like, all right, it's a difference between slow burn and being boring. But I
yeah.
just something about it, man. It was man, it's fucked up because I think it was soothing. It just had this kind of soothing feel to it for
But
some
you know
reason.
what sucked about but that when it came to that and Terrifier 3, they had such a limited release in the theaters. So
Yeah,
like I saw both of the movies at like fucking 10 o'clock at night. Like that was the only that was the showing that fit in. Like there was no matinee showing. I could
yeah,
go on a Saturday afternoon and fucking see it. So like it was like 7 o'clock or fucking 10 o'clock, and like I saw both of those movies at 10 o'clock. And maybe that was the fucking issue while I was looking at my phone and bored. Because I'm telling you, at Terrifier 3, I definitely fell asleep halfway through.
that's too.
I definitely dozed off.
Yeah. I mean, even me watching movies at home, if I'm starting to watch a movie after 10 o'clock, I'm in trouble. Fuck, too late. I'm gonna fall asleep.
Ah,
I was watching Doctor Giggles, and I woke up
I
and
love Dr. Giggles.
he was giggling. Oh shit, the movie's over. I
I
just
definitely dozed off. But yeah, I definitely dozed off. But maybe I was just tired. Maybe I need to
yeah,
give Terrifier 3 a second shot. Like watch it during the day because it was at 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday, and
yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I said, when I watched Terrifier 1 and 2, I watched the second time it worked a lot more for me. Terrifier 2 is my favorite Terrifier of the three. Like so that's
Terrifier 2 is
yeah, Terrifier
yeah
2. I
yeah
love I forgot that scene when they was at the clown was it the clown when they did when they was like dancing and singing and stuff like
yeah
that.
the clown show. Hmm.
Yeah, that was it was I love that scene. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm happy. I'm happy for that franchise mainly because fans gonna be overzealous. I don't never understand any of that stuff. I don't wear jerseys. I don't fly my flag. I don't.
Yeah,
I just like participate in things. I don't do all that extracurricular. I don't tattoo Art the Clown and all that shit. But just the story and just how it became what it became. Like I said, no one. This movie made history. This is the
hmm
highest grossing low, but and I think the one thing that he gets so much respect for is he was talking to the Hollywood elites and the bigger companies to say because they were saying like, yo, let's take this. We're gonna do Terrifier, and once again we're gonna reboot it. We'll do Terrifier, we'll build it up, and then we'll kind of do all that stuff. He's like, no, I want to continue the energy. I want to continue the story. And then they was also saying, well, we're gonna cut out this and that, and he would have got more money. So he went to the other company. He said, okay, I got 2 million to work with.
hmm
So got that much to work with. Marketing is pretty much social media and just saying, hey, our
yeah
shit is there because he already got a base. And then he got a new he built his fan base. He built people's curiosity because a lot of people went to, oh, I want to see what this is all about. And 40 what 50 is it was that $50 million now or more than that
yeah
on a two
more than
million
that.
dollar budget, $3 million budget. Like
I love it.
He gambled because he could have got more money doing stuff. He's like, no, I want to still keep my, and that doesn't happen in the industry. Whether because
No.
Hollywood, it ain't Hollywood no more. We need to stop talking about Hollywood. It ain't about Hollywood. Hollywood's gonna continue being here. People say Hollywood's in trouble. They're not in trouble, but
Yeah.
I don't understand their logic with certain things
Yeah.
because we exist and we can do things and create. Like Damien can create and do what he did, and he's holding his own. He holding his ground, and this is where he at. It's like I can do what I want. I made an unrated movie, and it made millions of dollars.
Yep.
So,
and I'm telling you, I respect those guys. I respect Damien Loney. You've probably heard me say million times on my shows. I saw them in the beginning. I saw them at the fucking horror conventions doing free pictures and every damn horror convention. That fucking hustle.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I did that kind of hustle for this fucking YouTube channel. For my first year and a half so far. I mean, that kind of hustle, showing up at everything the horror convention, and it's just asking for subscribers. And if somebody knew where I had to do what's called to get this YouTube channel where it's at right now,
yeah,
it was a hustle. I mean, it's just a stone cold fucking hustle.
Yeah,
and so I respect that hustle. Unfortunately, I'm not making $30 million, but yes, but like I respect that hustle, and like no, I do not hate Damien Loney or the West of Terrified guys. I mean, Art the Clown watches my show, so like no, listen, love the guys. Art the Clown's awesome, and they're okay horror movies. They're okay.
Yeah,
not my cup of tea, but they're okay horror movies.
Yeah.
All right, so listen, I can ask one last question, man. I just got called into work. So,
yeah, dude, stop writing notes. Let's
yes,
dude, that movie
and this one is an hour and a half away too. So, I was looking at the Indiegogo, and I was looking for that Vic Effect shirt. How come that's not a perk?
Oh, the Vic Effect. So here's the thing. The Vic Effects, the physical merch is freaking weird with crowdfunding, man. It's like, you got your producer perks, and you got people who want to build up that stuff and become producers and be a part of people's projects and stuff like that, which is cool because people who got producer perks, I correspond with them and stuff like that. The only physical stuff I got on there is the posters and DVDs and Blu-ray. And honestly, it hasn't done as well as I thought that would do. So when you're talking about hitting the ground running, going to conventions, that's what I'm trying to do in 2025. Like these people got these shirts that I gave to the cast and the crew and stuff like that. I gave them these shirts and stuff like that. So I have all these things, but once I go to the horror conventions, and then once Vic Effects finally comes out, and I'm wearing the shirt, and I'm gonna be wearing, the poster shirts, and then also got if somebody decide they want one of these type of posters, I got one of these light up posters. You turn the light on.
Nice.
I bought myself one just to have them, but
is that one there?
Once people are like in tune with with what I'm doing.
Is that a perk?
Huh?
Is that a perk?
No, that we have 11 by 17 posters.
Okay,
that I have for both. We have two posters. That's a backlight poster. Now, if enough people say, "Hey, I want one," I will order them, and then I
would like one of those.
All right, cool. Yeah, let me know.
I'm still going to donate. I'm still going to donate, but I would like one of those, especially if I can get an autograph.
Oh shit, man! I don't know if I could sign the. I got to talk to my poster. Okay. I can sign. Right. It's a plastic type setup. So if I can do that, I can sign it. That's cool. Yeah. I don't want to fuck up your post. I always feel weird.
Find out that's cool. Yeah, find out that's cool, and because I would love. Yes.
Yeah, but eventually, when the movie comes out, I'm gonna be selling the shirts on my website, and then when I go to conventions and be out and about, I'll have merchandise and stuff like that. It was just kind of tough for me to try to figure that out because I'm a virgin when it comes. I just popped my cherry a month ago with the crowdfund, so I was
So
getting a lot of help from different people saying this and that. So I'm definitely
and
gonna
I
do
will.
merch when I do conventions and and screenings. I'm gonna try to a lot of things with this crowdfund is about the screen post production because I can VFX. We're doing some VFX stuff, and then we're doing the sound design. Cause we're doing we're doing 7.1, 5.1 stereo mixes. So I'm gonna have 3 different types of mixes for the movie. So that's paying for that, and then screen. I'm gonna do special screenings. So I'm trying to hit up. And if you know small theaters in Baltimore, man,
100%.
that'll be that. I'm trying to hit up different areas.
I'm gonna send you a list. I'm gonna send you a list too of the horror conventions that you need to be at
Yes,
too.
yes,
I'm a
yes,
horror
yes,
convention guy. I go to them all across the country.
yes,
I'm gonna say the ones that you need to go to. You need to be
yes.
at, and you also need to have your movie shown at.
Oh, awesome.
Yep. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
I also got a perfect theater in Baltimore, and there's one in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, which is an hour and a half outside of Baltimore, and that's where a lot of the indie filmmakers on the East Coast.
what's the name of it?
It's called Waynesboro Theater.
I think because one of my main producers, Dan, he lives in Pennsylvania. Like he lives in a small town, but he was telling me about a certain theater that he want to use to do premiere.
Yeah, Waynesboro Theater,
Yeah.
and in Baltimore, you definitely want to do the Charles Theater. Like that, that
Okay.
is going to. You can either do that, or you could do Arundel Mills, which they show a lot of indie films, and
Yeah.
that's the biggest mall on the East Coast. So
Cool.
that is major.
Yeah, man. I mean,
So
so that's
I'll send it all over to you. Yep, I'll send. I'll send the ones the conventions that I'm going to be at next year because I do 12 a year throughout the country.
yeah,
I'm
that's
going to send
awesome,
you.
man.
Yeah, so I'm going to send you 12. I'm going to send you a couple of the ones that I'm doing, but I'm going to send you the ones that is definitely going to. And the one that you got to be at is it's in Pittsburgh, and
Okay.
it's called Gross Fest. That's like the biggest indie horror convention, and I'll be making an announcement about Gross Fest soon too.
Cool.
Team up with the horror room. So,
Yeah.
but that's the big one.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You
I mean,
want to do that, and Creature Feature is a good one too. So yeah, there's
yeah.
a couple.
And guess what? One of the short films in here is a creature feature. There's a
Oh,
monster.
so perfect. So,
There you
yeah,
go.
so Creature Feature is huge. You hear that a lot. You hear about that when indie horror filmmakers. That is it's a small one, but it's pretty big. Like that's where all the indie horror people, and that's in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So that's like
Okay.
an hour and a half outside of Baltimore too. So
Cool. Yeah,
yeah.
man. I'm trying to get out there, and I'm I guess the old school approach. I'm trying to bring the
Amy
movie.
Leone is perched.
I'm making a movie about making movies, so it's
Yep.
that's just my old school nature of things,
Yep.
and I'm cool with that.
All right, Chris, listen, it's always been a blast. By the way, where can everyone find you on social media and websites on that stuff?
Cool. So my website, I'm still working on stuff, and I'll start blasting it here and there. So my website is kissingcastleproductions.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can find Kissing Castles Productions on Facebook. I'm on Instagram a lot more now. So I'm on Instagram, Kissing Castles Production, and Instagram, Shern Chris. But just go look up Kissing Castles Production with everything, and I'm there. And yeah, man, I'm out here trying to get some shit done.
Dude, man. Listen, everybody, please support my man Chris. Follow him. Big Effects.
Big effects.
Look for it. He's going to be on a road. What's a road trip tour next year?
Yeah, I'm gonna see what I can do. See what I can get my ass out, or get people. My buddy who's helping me out promote in Texas, Miguel. Shout out to Miguel. He's pumping the movie out in Texas. Then my buddy Joe in California. So I'm trying to I'm at the East Coast, the West Coast, the Midwest. I'm trying to hit the UK, so I'm hoping I'm talking to some people out there, and because I think this is a good movie for stuff that we can do overseas as well. It's got that vibe.
Listen, Chris, always a pleasure having you on, man.
Always.
Always a pleasure to have you on, man. I'm going to get you on next year, first of the year for another live show. I got a good one, man. I'm not going to tell you what it's about, man, but I got a good
No,
one.
yeah, you, hey, dude.
I want to hear what your ideas are. And, like, those are always fun, man.
Yeah, no, man, you my guy, man. I appreciate what you do. Thank you for always having me on the show, and we're gonna get some shit. 2025, we're gonna get some shit done for sure.
Most definitely, man. All right, listen, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce, and that's Chris Shern. We'll see you next time. Take care.